Hello everyone, my name is PolishLynx and it's time to continue with Narcissu. Let's do it. Stopping time, stopping my heart, making a large scar on my chest. And even so, even though I had lived 22 years, I thought it was pathetic. January 19, 2005, the 7th floor. After a few days more, the cloudy days ended yesterday and the high winter sky spread wide. Surprisingly, my father came to visit. In the beginning he had a pained look on his face. However, he said something about my insurance. At that time, his eyes weren't soft. Well, I have to talk a bit with the doctor. Saying that, my father went down the hall. He seemed to be heading to that place from before, the gloomy conference room. Once again, I was alone in the hospital room. With nothing to do, I stretched my hands out to the weekly magazines bought for me from the store. They were there along with the fruits and juice that he always brought when visiting. Next to the basket with fruit inside, just in front of the melons that I hated. What came into view were the car keys. Interesting. Shining silver keys. It was the coupe father so proud of, with the interior he apparently had modified. Before I had asked on him to borrow it and had been quickly turned down the keys to that car. And in my pajamas chest pocket the driver's license. That day, even though it had lost its debut, I had continued to carry the license. It was proof of my own once ordinary days. Silently I grasped the keys. I just went and did it, even I didn't know the exact reason why. Simply, I just did it. It was like watching a single scene on a television somewhere. Then, taking the few days worth of medicine that I had been given, I just placed them in a bag from a convenience store and headed down the hall. Slipping by the nurse's station, I quickly continued to walk towards the elevator. In my right hand a plastic bag, in my left hand the car keys, in my chest pocket the license that was supposed to have lost its debut hit. In front of the lounge. The next thing that came into sight was the figure of the girl, as always, watching television. Sitting in a cheap folding chair, today she was also boredly looking at the screen. Hey you, is that interesting? Does it look like it? Nope, not at all. The usual exchange. Her eyes were as usual, seemingly looking far away. Well then, shall we go together? While showing her the car key in my hand, I continued speaking. I also don't like home. I also don't like this 7th floor. So, shall we go together? With that word the girl stood up from the folding chair. Lightly her long hair swayed and brushed the tip of my nose. And so, the girl also packed a few days' worth of medicine into a plastic bag. Then, the two of us placed the 7th floor behind us. I turned off the boring television. The shrilly laughing voice of the host was silenced. The two of us in pajamas got on the elevator and descended from the highest floor to the first. When we came to the first floor instead of the entrance for emergencies, normal admittance and discharges, we deliberately left from the outpatient entrance and headed to the parking lot. The wind sound. The moment we left the building, a cold winter blast struck us in the face. In the parking lot, with few obstructions, the wind left even stronger. Together, while we carefully peered around searching, we walked around the parking lot. Then, After searching a while, we finally found Dad's car. A silver coupe. The car Dad was so proud of that he even changed the interior. Quickly I inserted the key and opened the door. Look, you can get in. Alright. I sunk myself into the deep driver's seat. For a girl in the passenger seat, because of her height, even if she sat normally, it was difficult for her to see the front. Next, I put the key in my hand into the ignition, and as I turned it, stepped on the accelerator. It was all exactly like what the training center had taught. In moments, the sound of the engine reverberated in the interior. After that, release the parking brake and just let go of the clutch. With this, we can go anywhere, should be able to go anywhere. Well, here we go. The girl gave a small nod, and instead of responding, I shifted into second gear. And quietly, the car set off. As the chassis rattled from the unfamiliar clutch, slowly it went on. It's shaky, isn't it? It's the first time in this car after all. And while we're on the subject, it's the first time driving since getting my license. I see. Eventually, it appeared before us, the hospital parking lot exit. Just beyond it was a large road. I pulled the car out into the lightless intersection. From behind came the sound of car horns blaring at us as we suddenly pulled into the lane. The unfamiliar clutch ground when the gears shifted while the silver coupe ran in fits and starts. Perhaps the cars behind were especially angry, but it didn't seem like they'd stop honking for a while. Even so, without paying them any particular mind, I drove. The feeling of reality was somehow thin. Hey, you. What? Are you afraid? Being afraid would be better? No, not really. Still morning, the sun was high. Looking beyond the windshield, the January winter sky was painted so blue it somehow felt sorrowful. It wasn't like we had a destination. The day under the winter sky, the car swayed with the unfamiliar clutch. The day, in our pajamas, the two of us aimed for the national road. That winter day, January 19, 2005, Ibaraki-Mito Highway. Around when that so very high sun was turning orange, we continued to drive. Simply at random, the car continued running. And then, when the area turned into an unfamiliar place, I'm stopping for a bit. Finally, I brought the car to a stop. Outside of the city area, by the roadside somewhere, a lonely place that didn't seem to have much traffic. Stopping the car in a place I didn't even know the name of, for now I started inspecting the interior. If there were things that would even be the slightest bit useful, we had rushed out without any preparation, but I could see that we'll be in trouble very soon. While thinking about that, first I searched the dashboard in front of me. There really isn't much, is there? Just a few hundred yen worth of what appeared to be change from the expressways. The rest were just a few books of manga and a disposable camera. It wasn't like we had a destination, but it seems that the navigation system installed in the car was broken. And also, the amount of money I had was about 8,000 yen. While leaving, I had hardly stuffed that much into my pocket. With that and adding in the change in front of me, it could barely make 9,000 yen. Of course, it wasn't like I had been expecting to find anything in the car from the start. But with this budget, we'd probably be in trouble really soon. I could definitely believe that we wouldn't find decent lodging. Even saying that, I doubt that the girl had any money.
どうかした?
Is something wrong? No, it's nothing. Oh well, it didn't matter. I should have known this from the start. To begin with, it wasn't like we had thought up arrangements or plans before acting. Instead of that, right now, I wanted to move. I didn't want to sit still. Under the now darkening sky, once again the silver coupe ran. By the way, are you hungry? As I drove, I spoke to the one sitting next to me. Thinking about it, we hadn't eaten since this morning. For now, let's go to a convenience store. No. Hey, don't be so picky. Even so, compared to the 7th floor's food, it absolutely has to be better. At my words, the girl returned silence. Those downcast eyes, their line of sight was on the pink pajamas that she wore. Now that you say, that's right. As I spoke, I looked down at my own clothes. Certainly, in these pajamas, wherever we went, we'd stand out too much. It wasn't like there was no problem inside the car either. For now, we had to do something about these clothes. Making that decision, I turned the wheel from the main road and headed into town. After running a while, the place that we came to was some street I didn't know the name of. Surely it must be near some station, since it was a street where about that number of people could be seen. In a place like this, you'd think there'd be one. While glancing around the area searching, I moved the car on, slightly raising my body in the seat while driving. I found it! And what? In a short while, I spotted a coin-operated laundromat. It appeared quite run down and was in the first floor of a small apartment building. This place might just be perfect. A short distance away from the entrance, I parked the car. Alright, just wait a bit. Leaving the girl who was making a puzzled face, I headed to the clean-up laundromat on foot. Just past the automatic doors, my nose picked up the scent of bleach and detergent. Inside, it was just as run down as the exterior, filled with old washing machines and dryers. There's no one around. I muttered those words in the empty shop. There, raising a loud sound while spinning, was a single unit in use. Quickly approaching that machine, I started to check the timer. It looked like 200 yens had been inserted and it was set for 30 minutes. Also, it had been going for only 5 minutes. Most likely. Until it was about done, the person was passing down somewhere. With that deduction, once again from the entrance, I look around for someone that seems like that sort of person. Then, making sure that no one was inside, I placed my hands on that revolving dryer's door and suddenly opened it. Ka-chang! Opened in the middle of a drying cycle, the machine was forced into a stop temporarily. Ignoring the blast of heat and damp air, I took out a mass of half-dry clothing from inside. Then, carrying it just like that in both hands, I looked around once more before I put the shop behind me. Seeing both of my hands filled with laundry, the girl raised a bit of a surprised voice. However, paying no heed to that, I threw them into the back seat. Well, we're going. With one hand on the wheel, I eyed the pile of laundry I had thrown in the bag. At a glance, there it was, all flashy-looking jeans and sweatshirts. All the sizes seemed to be on the large side. They were still wet, but inside the car with the heat from the vent, it's probably be dry soon. Later, change it to something you like. For those words also came no particular reply. She simply looked at the pile of laundry. Well, what else could we do?
分かってるわよ。
I know. Okay. I wonder what will happen. But we'll get to know that in the next episode. I hope you enjoyed and see you in the next one. Bye.